You had a question.
Yeah.
What's your question,
I
sister?
don't really understand how comes that biologically men are propense to polygamism. I don't
Okay,
understand it.
so the question is basically or you don't understand why men are polygamous by nature.
Exactly.
If you read Mahabharat, Shri Krishna, how many wives he had? 4, 10,000, 10,000. He had 16,108 wives. So if Shri Krishna can have 16,108 wives, so why can't Muslims have maximum up to 4? If you read the Old Testament, it says that Solomon, peace be upon him, had 700 wives. Abraham, peace be upon him, had 3 wives. So Old Testament tells you can marry as many wives as you want. Same as the New Testament says that you should follow Old Testament. So in Hinduism, in Christianity, in Judaism, you can marry as many as you want. It is later on that the church put a restriction that Christians should marry only one. It is later on Rabbi Benjamin Yehuda passed a synod and say that Jews should marry only one. Otherwise, previously, they used to marry as many as they wished. It is the Indian penal code in India in 1954 that put a restriction and said under the Hindu Special Marriage Act, the Hindus should marry only one. But the scriptures put no restrictions. Let's analyze what does the Quran say. Quran says in Surah Nisa chapter 4 verse number 3, marry women of a choice in 2s, 3s or 4s, but if you can't do justice, marry only one. This statement, if you can't do justice, marry only one, is only given in the Quran and no other religious scriptures. Let us analyze why does Quran give permission for the Muslim men to marry more than one woman, maximum 4. The reason is that by nature, male and female are born in equal proportion. But if you ask any pediatrician, he will tell you, the doctor of the children, that the female child is stronger than the male child in fighting germs and diseases. So you have more deaths among the male children as compared to female children. So in pediatric age itself, the females are more than the males. As life goes on, there is death due to wars, due to alcoholism, due to drug addiction, due to accident. In all these cases, more men are dying as compared to females. So today in the world, there are more females as compared to males. In few countries, like India and China, the female population is less than the male population because of female feticide and female infanticide. In India, according to a BBC report, every day more than 1,000 fetuses are being aborted after they are identified as females. If you multiply this figure by 365, you get a total of more than 1 million fetuses are being aborted every year in India after they are identified that they are females. According to the Tamil Nadu government hospital report, out of 10 females born alive, 4 are put to death. If you stop this evil practice of female feticide and female infanticide in India, even in India, the female population will become more than the male population. Even in China, if you stop this evil practice, the female population will become more than the male population. Today, if you analyze, in USA alone, there are 4.7 million females more than males. In UK alone, there are 1.2 million females more than males. In Germany alone, there are 1.6 million females more than males. In Russia alone, there are 10.6 million females more than males. And God alone knows that how many females are more than males throughout the world. If I agree with you that one man should only marry one woman, and suppose your sister happens to live in America, or suppose my sister happens to live in USA, and the market is saturated, every man has found a wife for himself, yet there will be 4.7 million females who will not find life partner. And if your sister happens to be one of them, or if my sister happens to be one of the 4.7 million females who have not found a life partner for themselves, the only option for them is that she either marries a man who already has a wife or becomes public property. Public property, such a harsh word. It is the most sophisticated word I can use. I cannot use a better word. You know, in America, today the statistics tell us, on average, a man has 8 different sexual partners before he settles down with one. Having mistresses in USA is very common. 5, 10, 20, 30, no problem. Having more than one legal wife, it doesn't go down their throat. When a woman is a mistress, she doesn't get her rights. She's dishonored. She is not treated well. In Islam, when a woman becomes the second wife, she gets her honor, she gets her right, she's treated well. Any modest woman, if you ask her, that would you prefer being a second wife of a man who's already married or become public property, they would opt for the first.
Why is it in Islam that a man can have 4 wives and a woman can only have 1 husband? Well, this question came to me one time in the university. A great big woman came walking in there and she said, I want to know how come you Muslims can have 4 wives and a woman can only have 1 husband. I said, wow, you know, this is very uncommon. Even throughout the entire population of all of the Muslim men in the world, you won't maybe find 1%, 2% that perhaps have multiple wives like this. But it is legal in Islam if they're a real wife and they're married. But still, how am I going to answer this big lady? How come you can have 4 wives, a woman can only have 1 husband? I said, ma'am, can I ask you a question? She said, yeah. I said, are you married? Yeah. So what? I said, okay, do you mind just for a minute? I want you to picture your husband. Why? I said, just think about him for a minute. Picture your husband in your mind. She said, okay. And she did, and then I said, now, you got him in your mind, he come home from work, he's sitting there in his favorite chair asking you to go get him something to drink. She said, yeah, you probably want a beer. I said, okay, but anyway, now, you got this in your mind? Yeah. I said, would you like to have another husband just like him? She said, oh my God, no. I said, well, then what do you want 4? But to understand, this is not about some kind of, sexual thing that people have going on in their minds, some kind of wild fantasies. This is about being responsible in marriage for your family. So if a man has more than 1 wife, he's responsible, fully responsible for the second wife, just like the first, to have a house, transportation, education, medical benefits, food, clothing, all the things that he has for one family, he must provide for the other. That's an order in Islam. Otherwise, you can only have 1 wife. And as I've already said, most Muslims don't.
You see, he had a small joke against the Muslims about polygamy. You see, since Islam allows you to marry 4. He didn't quote the verse correctly. He was saying Surah Nisa, verse 3, or something to the effect. The Quran says, marry women of your choice by 2s and 3s and 4s. But if you cannot do justice between them, marry only 1. The only religious book, I'm saying the only religious book on the face of the earth, which has this expression, marry only 1, is the Quran. There is no other book on earth. And this is the solution to your problem. He has settled down in America. He has married a beautiful young lady, an American woman. Congratulations. But now, wait. The American statistics, they tell us there are 7.8 million more women than men in America. That's almost 8 million more women in your country, sir, the land of your domicile. 8 million women who can't get husbands. If every man in America got married, there'll still be 8 million women who can't get husbands. I am asking, in this book of God that you are boasting about, what is the solution to your problem? Jimmy Swaggart. If you get the tape is available. Jimmy Swaggart, Anish Sarosh, the tape is available. You can get it before you go. They are 8 pounds each. Jimmy Swaggart, if you see this debate, at the outset, he is also having a laugh at our expense. He says, you know, Mr. Deedat, he says, you know, we had a chat in the waiting room, and Mr. Deedat says that the Muslim can have 4 wives.
Islam allows 4 wives. He just corrected me, said up to 4. I said, well, Mr. D. Christianity only allows us 1, so I had to get the best on the first shot.
So he said, but you see, Christianity allows us only 1. And I have to choose the best. Get the tape? Get the tape? He said, I have to choose the best. And you know, the best was not good enough. Look, all these tele-evangelists, all one by one, they're all falling. Reverend Marvin Gorman, an evangelist, tele-evangelist, he appears on television, tantalizing millions. He was caught with a prostitute. Jim Becker, with Jessica Hans, another prostitute. Jimmy Swaggart, average of 2 trips a month to the prostitute for his satisfaction. I said, you laugh at us? You are a fool. I said, the laugh is on you.